Good evening and warm welcome to the State of Business on our television. I'm Chamod Fernando. Let's have a look at the headlines. Education system requires a transformational change, Subject Minister stresses. Cabinet approves importing more eggs from India. Now the news in detail. Minister of Education Susil Premachandra said that mere reform is not going to help propel the education system of the country. Rather, it has to go through a transformational change. The minister said this speaking at the launch of the Capital Markets Club event at Nugavela Central College, Kandy recently.
අධ්‍යාපන ප්‍රතිසංස්කරණයක් අද ප්‍රමාණවත් නැහැ අපිට. පරිවර්තනීය වෙනසකට අපි යන්න ඕනේ. Reforms not enough. Let go for transformation. අවුරුදු 15ක් 20ක් පසුපසින් අපි හිටනවා සමහර රටවල් වලට වඩා. අපි ඒ කරා යා යුතුයි. ඒ යන වේගවත් ගමන සඳහා තමයි මේ සියලු ආයතන වල සහයෝගය අපි ලබා ගන්න. ඒ නිසා මම දකින හැට අධ්‍යාපන ක්ෂේත්‍රය තුල සැලසුම් රාශියක් තිනවා. ගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා 1985 ආරම්භ කළ ජාතික අධ්‍යාපන ආයතනය, විශ්වමාලා සංවර්ධනය අද නව මානයකට යන නව අධ්‍යාපන පරිවර්තනීය වෙනසත් එක්ක ඒ ඇයට කොටස් බාර දීලා තියෙනවා. ගුරුවරුන් සහතික කිරීම. The certification of teacher. එතනින් තමයි වෙන්න ඕනේ. ගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා ආරම්භ කළ 1986 අධ්‍යාපන විද්‍යාපීඨ පුහුණු ගුරුවරයෙක් දරුවන්ට ලබා දෙනවා. අපි දැන් ඒ සංකල්පය එතනින් ඔබට ගෙනියනවා. මේ 19 මෙකුත් කළා පීඨ අද තියෙන අපි අධ්‍යාපන විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයක් හදනවා අධ්‍යාපන අමාත්‍යාංශයට. ඒතර 2027 ඉඳලා එළියට එන්නේ B.Ed උපාධිය ගත්ත B.Ed Science, B.Ed Maths, B.Ed Commerce මේ ආදි වශයෙන්. ඒතර අපේ ඉලක්කය තමයි ඩිප්ලෝමා එකෙන් එහාට ගිහිල්ලා උපාධිධාරියෙක් ලබා දෙන්න.
The Cabinet of Ministers gave approval to publish the draft bill on value-added tax in the Government Gazette and subsequently table it in the Parliament to get approval. Cabinet co-spokesman and Minister Bandulu Gunawardena said this to journalists at the post-Cabinet meeting briefing last week. The Cabinet had approved to revise the Value-Added Tax Act of 2002, which will also abolish the simplified value-added tax methodology with effect from next year. Several items currently exempted from the VAT will be eliminated to boost the tax revenue by 1.2% of the gross domestic product. The minister said that health, education, agriculture and items affecting low-income families to secure fundamentals will not be excluded. Minister Gunawardena said creating a comprehensive mechanism to pay VAT and bringing those absconding the payments to the tax net are key objectives of revising the law. According to the IMF, the government should eliminate the majority of exemptions and revise the VAT scheme and discontinue the SWAT approach. The central bank announced that the government revenue and grants for this year had increased to 1,317 trillion rupees compared to 919.5 billion rupees the year before. The central bank also announced that the tax revenue amounted to 1.19 trillion rupees as against 799 billion rupees during the first half of last year. The central bank further announced that non-tax revenue was down to 116 billion rupees from 120 billion rupees. Member of Parliament Professor Ranjit Bandara said that the Vocational Training Authority should take leadership in giving job placement assurance for the many school dropouts of the country. The chairman of the Committee on Public Enterprises said this at a meeting with officials of the Vocational Training Authority in Parliament recently.
Job placement assurance එකක් දෙනවා කියන එක නේ දැන් දෙගොල්ලෝ එකට එක්කහුව කරලා කරනකොට මීට වඩා වැඩි පිරිසක් දැන් අපි මම හිතන්නේ මේ මාසේ 18 වෙනිදා උඩුනුවර කරන්න යනවා ඕපන් ඩේ එකක් ඔය VT එකේ. ඉතින් අපි ඇත්තටම උත්සාහ කරන්නේ ළමයි මේ පාඨමාලාවල් වලට ආකර්ෂණය කරගන්න විතරක් නෙවෙයි ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එකේමුත් කට්ටිය ගෙනල්ලා ඒ කට්ටිය ඇෂුරන්ස් එකක් දෙනවා. ඒකේ අවස්ථාවනුත් මේකේ තියෙනවා කියලා. ඔබතුමාට මතක ඇති අපි පිළිමතලාවේ මේ සියලුම වෘත්තීය පුහුණු ආයතන ගෙනල්ලා පිළිමතලාවේ ජිනරාජ ජාතික පාසලේ මේ සියලුම විදුහල්පතිවරුන්ට දෙනුවර කලාපේ මේ අත්දැකීම ලබා දුන්නා. දැන් ඇත්තටම අපි මේ වෘත්තීය පුහුණු ආයතන ඉස්කෝලත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධ කරලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට ඉස්කෝලේ හැම ඉස්කෝලේකම වගේ මේක ගැන කතා කරනවා. ස්කූල් ඩ්‍රොප් අවුට්ස්ලා එතකොට යොමු වෙනවා. මම කියන්නේ ඒකටත් ඕගොල්ලන් නායකත්වයේ ගන්නට ඕනේ. ලේකම්තුමා එතකොට මේ මේ ත්‍රිවිල් පාක් වලට ළමයි එන එක නතර වෙලා දැන් අපි කොච්චර ඇඩ්වර්ටයිස් කරත් ඒ පෙළඹවීම ඉස්කෝලේ ඇතුළේම වෙන්න ඕන.
Stay tuned. We will return after this commercial break.
Even if they force me to turn back 1,000 times, I'll keep trying.
They're determined, driven, and often unwelcome. Millions of people are desperate to start a new life abroad. What do they face on their journey there, and how can they make a fresh start?
Welcome back. The Cabinet of Ministers approved the import of over 92 million eggs from India in the next 3 months in a bid to stabilize the prices and address the shortage in the local market. Cabinet co-spokesperson and Minister Bandulu Gunawardena made this announcement at the post-cabinet meeting press conference last week. The minister said the eggs will be imported through the State Trading Corporation following directives from the Standing Procurement Committee based on the price specifications. Accordingly, the government called for the quotation from 3 Indian companies recommended by the Department of Animal Production and Health. The Consumer Affairs Authority also published an extraordinary gazette recently revoking the order that had set the maximum retail price for eggs in April. The gazette was issued under the power vested by Section 20 of the Consumer Affairs Authority Act, and it was signed by the chairman of the CAA, Shantanu Riyalla. Previously, the All Island Poultry Farmers Association assured that by December, the industry could achieve self-sufficiency, leading to price dropping below 35 rupees. They called on the government to gradually reduce egg imports from India as the local producers will release higher output to the market in the coming months. The resolution in this regard was furnished by President Ranil Wickremesinghe, was approved by the Cabinet of Ministers at its meeting last week. Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, in collaboration with the Ministry of Sports, have organized an exclusive rugby tournament with the aim of promoting Sri Lanka as a sports tourism destination. The organizers of the event made the announcement of the tourism at a media briefing in Colombo recently. The tournament is to be organized in collaboration with the Sri Lanka Consul General Office in Melbourne and Argyle Rugby. The event is set to highlight Sri Lanka as an ideal destination to hold sports event with its diverse opportunities for an sporting event. The overall purpose of the tournament was to assess the standards of the local women rugby players and offer them overseas training and scholarship opportunities. The women's rugby tournament was held on the 29th of August with the participation of 4 women's teams, namely Army, Air Force, Navy and CRNFC. Apart from this, Women's Rugby World Cup and Women's Cricket World Cup are both lined up to be held in Sri Lanka as well.
Whether it's a Dubai Sevens or the Hong Kong Sevens or whatever, we have a strong history and we have the facilities. And we are not an artificial nation. I'm not trying to disregard any other countries who does this. We are a natural nation. I told the 3 of you last night, my tagline, my strategy, when I briefed the agencies for the next global campaign, we are an all-in-one capsule minus the snow. We have everything that you need. It's a small island. It's a small miracle that we have. So whether it's wellness, whether it's sports, whether it's adventure, whether it's marine tourism, whatever it is, we have all that to offer.
The Women's Policy Action Network, which is a network of committed individuals for the empowerment of women in Sri Lanka, held a conference under the theme Empowering Women, a Future-Ready Workforce. The conference was held at the Bandar Naik International Memorial Hall in Colombo on the 29th of last month. The organization acknowledged that the women of Sri Lanka are the backbone of the economy of the country through their contribution to key sectors such as tea, garments and healthcare. The Women's Policy Action Network said that the lack of existing social infrastructure and barriers to digital access have been obstructions in economically empowering women. The conference also included presentations and panel discussions with individuals that have been working tirelessly in this field to eliminate barriers.
Championing women's rights means advocating for a better and more prosperous nation. As Sri Lanka pushes through a reform agenda, there couldn't be a more opportune moment. As we strive for progress, we must confront the challenges that persist. Stereotypes and cultural norms are hard to overcome as they are strongly influenced by traditional perceptions and gender roles. Recognizing the equal position of women is essential for any society to reach its fullest potential. To truly level the playing field, we must embrace not only formal but also substantive equality. This demands acknowledging the unique challenges and needs women face and understanding the distant impact policies they have on them.
Stay tuned for the stock update. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on positive notes today. The all-share price index gained 218.22 points to close at 11,374.64 and the S&P SL20 gained 80.62 points to close at 3,234.27. The turnover was 3.3 billion rupees and over 136 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex rates. That's all our news for today. For this and more, subscribe our channel on YouTube, follow us on Facebook.